think many people have pointed to the equations or the math or the calculus or whatever it was to use. Frankly, it looked like amateur hour. The impact of that on smaller countries versus larger countries, or real trading partners versus those that don't really have the money to the dollars to invest in the U.S. So it didn't seem logical to me, and I think we've moved beyond the economic reasons that are justifiable for using tariffs into something that is non-economic, and I think the impact on our friends and our allies, Canada is probably the best example, that's going to be a lot harder to unwind. Can we unwind the economic impacts? Sure. I think we should move quickly and do that.
Stan Druckenmiller, we were just talking about his post on X overnight, just saying that he's not in favor of tariffs above 10%. You sound like you fall in that camp.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't smart enough to pick out that number, but I go back to, one of the things I researched during this period is where were tariffs prior to the first Trump administration, or prior to this administration, inauguration, and it was about 2.5%. And they're now about 22, 23, 24%. On 11% of the economy, that's a tax bill of $700 billion immediately. That's going to have an impact on prices going up, production going down. It calls into question whether we're going to have stagflation, which is where no one wants to go.
Yeah, and I think that's the big question. Pain in the stock market is one thing. When does that translate into actual pain in the economy? Does something break? It's been orderly to this point, steep but orderly. But what do you watch for to see that moving into the broader economy? We did have a flash CEO survey that we completed with CNBC with a group of CEOs who are on our council, and I think a third of them said that they now envision that they will have to lay people off this year.
Look, the Fed's in a tough spot, and I saw the piece that you posted just before I came on, President Trump saying that we should lower interest rates. The Fed has rates now at about 4.25. The markets are discounting 3 or 4 cuts this year.
I think it's 5 now, actually.
It's probably moving this morning, right?
Yeah, as of Friday after the jobs report.
But it's a tough job for the chairman, because you cut rates and inflation starts going up, and the impact of the tariffs on inflation is real. So they have inflation, and they also have a debt level that all of us say is the darkest cloud hanging over the U.S. economy. Now, you guys know from my times here, no one's more bullish on the U.S. economy, the resilience of the U.S. economy. But this is a very profound act of economic self-harm. And the question I ask is which Americans are benefiting from this right now?